Madam President, I think it's important in the context of this amendment on the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Bill that we put into focus what this amendment is really affecting. It is affecting the most important nation in the Arab world, the heart and soul of the Arab world, Egypt. All countries in the Middle East are important. Egypt is the most important. In Egypt today, there are demonstrations, there are scores of people being killed, hundreds being wounded, and this Friday, just 2 days from now, after prayers, there is predictions that there could be even more carnage will take place as a result of the pro-Morsi people taking the streets of Cairo and other cities throughout Egypt. So I think we ought to consider this amendment in the context of what's happening in arguably the most important nation in the Arab world. And should we ask ourselves that at this point, without adequate hearings, without adequate discussion, without input from the administration, as well as the oversight responsibilities by the Foreign Relations Committee, the Appropriations Committee, the Armed Services Committee, all of whom chairmen and ranking members are opposed to this amendment. So, first of all, I caution against a rush to judgment on this issue. It requires, frankly, more than an hour equally divided of debate on the floor of the United States Senate. I'd also like to point out that this amendment today is part of a larger debate that's been going on in the Republican Party for well over a century. Prior to World War I, there was the isolationist wing of our party. After World War I in the 30s, there were the America Firsters. After World War II, there was the Eisenhower wing of our party and the Taft wing. And the conflict and debate, and not the conflict, but the debate has gone on for the heart and soul of the Republican Party. This debate and this amendment that is posed by my friend from Kentucky is part of that overall debate as to what the United States of America's role in the world should be. Should we take our money from Egypt and give it to build a bridge in Kentucky? Should we take our foreign aid and cut it to the point where we no longer have influence in these countries throughout the world and spend it on the much-needed projects that are the result of a very ailing and still serious recession that we remain in? So I think that the vote today on this amendment has even larger implications than that of whether we should cut off all assistance to Egypt. And by the way, my friends, I don't think it's an accident that AIPAC, our friends there who represent the interests of the State of Israel, have opposed this amendment. Because if there's further upheaval in the Sinai, and if there's a collapse of the rule of law in Egypt, I don't think there's any doubt that the threat to Israel is dramatically increased. I've made it clear, and so has my friend from South Carolina, that it was a coup. It was a coup, and our law calls for that. But that is an implementation of a law that needs to be done in a way that is consultation with the Foreign Relations Committee, the Appropriations Committee, and in fact, all members of the United States Senate. And I think it's important for us to send a message to Egypt that we're not abandoning them, but what we are doing is trying to caution them, to try to modify their behavior, to tell General Assisi that he's got to have an inclusive government, that he has to allow the Muslim Brotherhood to partake in the upcoming elections, that the Muslim Brotherhood, we has to be told that they have to renounce violence. Right now, Egypt is spiraling down into a situation of chaos, which I can promise my colleagues will sooner or later pose a threat to our vital national security interests. The most important nation in the Arab world descending into chaos is going to be a threat to the United States of America. And I urge my colleagues, and I urge my friend from Kentucky with respect, to realize that this amendment would send the wrong message at the wrong time. It may be coincidental, but this Friday is going to be an important day in Egypt. And should we be sending the message that, okay, to the Egyptians, you're on your own? And yes, other countries in the region are contributing enormously to the Egyptians without conditions. But the support or condemnation of the United States of America, the best and freest and still most influential nation in the world, is of vital importance. And at this time, I think it would be a terrific mistake for the United States to send the message to Egypt, you're on your own. So I hope that we understand that it's not about U.S. foreign assistance. It's not about what serves our interests it is about what serves our interests and our values. And this, my friends, is a debate that we need to have over the weeks and months and years ahead, in probably one of the best places to have that debate. But today, I urge my colleagues, no matter how they feel about assistance to Egypt, that we are committed. I urge them to appreciate that we are committed to a long debate on this issue. I have confidence in the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee that we will be addressing this issue seriously, of which the senator from Kentucky is a member and would certainly take part. I urge my colleagues to understand that an amendment on a transportation, housing, and urban development-led appropriations bill is not the venue. And we need to have this debate, not only about Egypt, but America's role in the world, and I look forward to joining it. But today is not the day to take a step that could have repercussions that over time could damage United States' vital national security interests. I urge my colleagues to vote to table the Paul Amendment.